Friday, Western Montana. We're made it to the end of another work week, and we're just getting ready to head into the weekend. But we are going to see a strong system arrive later on tonight. It's actually already starting to move into areas of northwest and west central Montana. So I want to go through the full breakdown of what we can expect really over the next, say, 24 to 36 hours. But we'll also look ahead towards the end of this weekend and into early next week with some more changes on the way, but it's not going to be necessarily active weather changes. It's going to be more pleasant type of weather. So we'll give it here a few minutes. It'll give me a chance to make sure everything's working here behind the scenes. But as I always do with these, I'll spin the camera back around, show you those live looks across western Montana right now while I'm getting these few last things put together. But overall, we are going to continue with the active weather we've dealt with the last few days, though in an increasing degree of that for not only tonight, but likely through at least the first half of Saturday as well. It does look like everything is working smoothly here behind the scenes, so good news there. 9 times out of 10, it is working the way I want it to, but you know, always better to make sure that we're running smoothly. So thank you for tuning in this evening. As you are tuning in, certainly let us know where you're watching from and what kind of conditions you're seeing outside right now. Has the wind been a big problem for you? I know here in Missoula, we've seen those gusts anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles per hour. Nothing overly intense, but I know we have seen a few areas with gusts closer to 40 to 45 miles per hour throughout the day. The winds will continue to be an issue. So I think with that, I've got everything working here like I planned on. So I say let's get right on into this, so we can so you can all go and enjoy your Friday evening, and then really hopefully get a start to this weekend. But flipping it back around, we're going to be looking at, in general, mostly cloudy skies for areas along and west of the divide. Bozeman, we're still hanging on to a decent amount of sunshine, but that is going to change as we go throughout the night. Tonight, we're going to be seeing those temperatures falling from where they are now in generally the mid and upper 40s down into the 20s and 30s overnight. Tonight, we did see highs in many areas in the upper 40s and lower 50s this afternoon, but the changes, oops, that is the wrong graphic. We're given a little bit of like inception going on with multiple screens there. I did want to go to the MDT map. That's why I had that particular graphic up, and I was going to show you the one area where we are dealing with problems, and that is going to be over Lookout Pass. So now that I've got this in the right place, let's go to that camera now. This is, again, not Flathead Lake, but it gets the idea. Let me just do that right there. You know, there we go. There we go. Now it's not popping up the banner on top there. But I'm going to pull this image up full. And this was what it was like, I would say, about an hour ago. This image is old, but we were looking at heavy snowfall. At times, snowfall rates of about 1/2 inch to 1 inch per hour there on the state line from the wave of moisture that's rolling in. And that led to an accident on the eastbound, essentially the right lane of the eastbound lanes there near Lookout Pass. That led to this backup that you're seeing here now, but I believe this image is delayed. So let's take it to the Idaho Department of Transportation map and look at their cameras, which shows this image, which still doesn't look particularly good at Lookout Pass, but maybe not quite as bad as what we were dealing with, though. You notice these diesels, these 18-wheelers, those look to be pulled off the side of the road right here at the pass. So road conditions aren't great right now. We will see these continue to deteriorate overnight tonight with heavier snow expected. Let me pull it down a little bit further. This is now onto the Idaho side of the pass, but you're noticing that's the snowfall accumulations. This vehicle has been here for a little while. This is in the essentially in the left, just off the left lane there in the median. But you've noticed there was another 18-wheeler right here a short time ago where you've had the path kind of going from the left lane back into the right lane. Overall, long story short, places like Lookout, Lolo, Marias passes, tonight and into tomorrow morning, we're going to continue to see these types of conditions, if not worse, overnight tonight, with the potential of heavy to snowfall. And again, those snowfall rates, 3/4 of an inch to maybe 1.25 inches per hour. So it's going to accumulate quickly tonight, and I'll show you why as we go to radar. And you can see this moisture starting to really filter in from west to east. We've got a cold front that's going to be moving through the area this evening initially, but overnight it'll pass through. Snow levels right now right around 4,500 feet. So below that, it is all rain down in our valleys. It's really only the passes right now that we're dealing with the snow concerns. We might start seeing some of that up here towards Hungry Horse, West Glacier, up into the direction of Essex over the next couple of hours. But let me stop this, and I'll show you where we're seeing the heaviest precipitation right now. Now, the general trend is an increasing one. You can see a lot of these darker blues starting to show up, and in our mountains, this is the zone where we could be talking snowfall rates of that 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch per hour with that heavy precipitation. But again, down in our valleys, Interstate 90, Highway 200, even up here towards US 2, except for, in the areas closer to, say, Marion, where it gets a little bit higher in elevation. This is all rain, maybe a little bit of graupel trying to work its way in, but then you get into the US 93 corridor, some spotty showers here and there. Montana 83, same story. But that will change overnight tonight. We will see those snow levels falling down to valley floors behind this cold front. But some good snow for our mountains is going to be a big part of this storm system. Southwest Montana, we are quiet, like we saw from that live camera in Bozeman a few minutes ago. Mostly clear skies. Clouds will be increasing overnight tonight. But looking back to the west, you see a lot of these darker greens, yellows, and even oranges into eastern Washington. That's the kind of moisture that's going to sweep through with this cold front. And then as we get into Future Tracker momentarily, then we're going to have to deal with snow squalls on the backside of the cold front with an increase in our winds. And I'll show you those here in just a minute. But overall, the main trend, increasing showers for northwest and west central Montana over the next couple of hours. Could be a soggy majority of the rest of the night once we get beyond, say, 9-10 o'clock. Now, going into Future Tracker, which has done a good job picking up on this increase in moisture, really for areas north of the Missoula Valley, that will continue to move in. You notice how it transitions more of this west to east flow versus southwest to northeast. This is going to be that cold front as it slides through, potentially seeing that change over to snow as early as, say, 10 to 11 o'clock tonight in Kalispell. This has been a little faster than other models. So I think we could still be dealing with that mix of rain and snow at this point. But if it does change over faster in the Flathead Valley, then, like this model is showing, that could bring us a quicker increase to our snowfall totals up across parts of northwest Montana. But you notice down towards the Mission Valley, Highway 200, US 93, Missoula and Bitterroot Valleys, we're still looking at that rain-snow mix through at least midnight, as it looks like right now. Heavy mountain snow expected along the state line and up and along the Divide. So again, those passes, Lookout, Lolo, Marias, and even towards the Lost Trail down here. Those are going to be our problem areas overnight tonight. The cold front will continue its march off to the east, still looking at that rain mixing in for the valleys along the US 93 corridor. This is still 2 a.m. I think as we get closer to sunrise tomorrow, we will transition that over to primarily snow in the valleys, but some models are taking a little bit longer for that to happen. That said, you notice these, I'll say, more banding-like features that are starting to show up. This is beyond, say, 3 to 4 o'clock. These are those snow bands that could lead to some intense snow squalls overnight tonight. One thing that will help us out, travel-wise, we're still going to be dealing with those problems into tomorrow morning, but the worst of the snow squall issues will likely be overnight tonight as compared to during the middle of the day, where you got a lot more people traveling. That said, there still will be folks traveling over the passes overnight, especially we've got our truck drivers, the semi drivers that will be doing that. And I know of multiple people who were talking about making trips out to eastern Washington, driving right into essentially the mouth of this storm system. So just be aware, those snow squall, the general snowfall is going to be bad enough over the passes, but the snow squalls with those wind gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour could lead to quickly deteriorating road conditions, but also some quickly reduced visibility. We could see near whiteout conditions in a few areas if these snow bands do develop like the models are forecasting. At this point, you notice roughly that front is through the Interstate 15 corridor. You notice how the winds shift from south to more of this westerly flow. That westerly flow is behind the cold front. We continue to see those showers into tomorrow morning. This is looking around 7 a.m. and places in southwest Montana, you notice south of Interstate 90. So we're talking from, say, Glen down towards Dillon and eventually down towards Lima and Monida Pass, and then across towards Sheridan, Twin Bridges, Virginia City, Ennis, the Madison Valley, and then maybe even into Bozeman. This particular band, that could lead to some quick accumulations there as well. Now, I think in general, with these snow bands, if you get underneath them, you could pick up a quick half an inch, maybe an inch if that sits over you for a little bit more of an extended period of time. That'll be the case through tomorrow morning, though, as we see, at least the heaviest chance for valley snowfall will be down in southwest Montana, while the heaviest snowfall in general will be in the mountains west of the divide and along the divide, I should say, too. These continue into Saturday afternoon. This is right at noon. This is when our advisories and warnings, which we'll go into more detail about, will be allowed to expire. But scattered showers throughout the day are expected. As we get beyond, say, 3 to 5 o'clock, I think that is our window where the snowfall is going to overall start to diminish more fully. And that's going to leave us with some spotty showers for the afternoon. Snow levels will start to rise again, so most valleys, I think we're going to be back to that rain-snow mix by the afternoon, probably right around 3,500 to 4,000 feet. By the afternoon hours, scattered snow showers continuing down towards Bozeman as late as maybe, say, 8 to 9 o'clock. But after 10, again, other than maybe a spotty shower here in northwest Montana, southwest Montana, we are quieting down into Sunday morning briefly. Then we'll see back to the west, here comes the next wave of moisture. But before we get into that next storm system, here are those winter weather advisories. They have been expanded in comparison to yesterday's YouTube Live to now include the Butte-Blackfoot region and Potomac-Seeley Lake regions, and the winter weather advisory for the lower Clark Fork region has been upgraded to a winter storm warning. All of these along and west of the divide are now in effect, will continue through noon. These in southwest Montana, those begin at midnight and will continue through noon. So overall, in general, it's a short duration event. It's here now, and the worst of it will be over by the time we get to noon tomorrow. So most of the impacts tonight, tomorrow morning, for travel and those heavy accumulations of snowfall, and then things will start to at least improve slightly into tomorrow afternoon. Now, as for those snowfall totals, here's a rough breakdown. I think most of our valleys west of the divide, a half an inch to maybe an inch in most places. But like I was talking about with Kalispell, if that changeover to snow happens a little bit more quickly, maybe 1 to 2 inches will be possible. I still think, in general, up to 2 inches is what we can expect for our valleys west of the divide. Similar to what we're seeing towards Hamilton, we may see that change over a little bit, but it gives you the sense of those snow bands. If you don't get underneath one of those snow bands, you may not see any snow, if not just a little dusting. But if you get underneath one of those heavier bands west of the divide, you may pick up, again, 1 to 2 inches over the span of, say, 1 to 3 hours. So just kind of it's going to be very hit and miss with those bands, but areas that do get hit by them could see some pretty hefty impacts, at least in a short-term period. But then getting into southwest Montana, that's where we have a better chance for more consistent snowfall, maybe up to 3 inches for places like Bozeman, Ennis, Dillon. I think West Yellowstone, we may be closer into that 2 to 6 inch range as compared to 1 to 3. But it gives you, again, the general sense southwest Montana valleys have a better chance of more consistent snowfall into tomorrow morning. Now, over our mountain passes, this is the area where we're going to see, again, those greatest impacts. Lost Trail, Bozeman Pass, maybe about 3 to 8 inches, and this is all the way through Sunday, so this is including the Saturday and the Sunday snowfall. Those along the divide south from Rogers Pass south, as well as down to Monida Pass, maybe up to 3 inches. But it's in this zone from Lolo to Marias and back to Lookout where we could see those heaviest snowfall totals of maybe 6 to as much as 16 inches of additional snowfall. This doesn't include what has already fallen up there. So we could be talking anywhere from a half a foot to a foot and a half of fresh snow over those passes. And like I said, this could be heavy, wet snow, the kind of the sticky, slushy stuff that could make those roads extremely treacherous. And even down towards Lost Trail Pass and Bozeman Pass, tomorrow morning for Lost Trail, tomorrow afternoon for Bozeman Passes, we could see those types of travel impacts as well. So if you are traveling tomorrow, especially during the morning hours, make sure to give yourself a little bit of extra time and be prepared for those rapidly changing road and weather conditions from those snow bands. And again, we'll go from there, but just be aware of those. We do have another side of this storm system, and that is going to be the winds. We have high wind watches that include places like Bozeman, Homestake Pass, Cardwell Hill, Whitehall, Three Forks, up in towards, say, Boulder, Clancy, and the Townsend and Toston areas up into Helena. This is where we could be seeing some of our strongest winds with this storm system. They've already been pretty breezy today. We've seen those gusts 20 to 40 miles per hour. But as we get into tomorrow afternoon behind the cold front, we're likely looking at winds 30, 40, maybe even as high as 40 to 60 miles per hour, especially in that area where we had the high wind watch. We could be seeing those gusts closer to 60 miles per hour. These will be westerly winds, so our north-south roads, Interstate 15, US 191 and 287. Those north-south roads will be dealing with crosswinds, so high-profile vehicles could see some pretty difficult travel conditions. And even there is the potential, if we do start seeing those 60-mile-per-hour winds, of some minor power outages as well. So it's going to be sort of a two-factor impact with the storm. We're going to be dealing with the snow. We're also going to be dealing with those strong winds. They will start to taper back off into Sunday, but they will stay on the breezy side, maybe more in that 15 to 30 mile per hour range, especially in southwest Montana and up and along the divide with the strongest winds up towards Cut Bank and Great Falls. And then even into Monday, those winds will stay on the breezy side. So overall, just a general windy pattern is going to be sticking around, even as overall the snowfall begins to diminish. But let me check on one thing here additionally. We do have avalanche watches up here into parts of northwest Montana. I don't have the specifics on that right at the moment. Let me grab those so I can give you the specific areas. So that avalanche watch in effect through 6 a.m. Saturday for the Selkirk, West and East Cabinet and Bitterroot Mountains, as well as the Silver Valley above 4,000 feet, so up in this zone of northwest Montana and the Idaho Panhandle. This warm, wet storm is going to quickly deliver several feet of dense snow with strong winds, leading to some overloading and a variety of weak snow layers in that upper snowpack. So backcountry, if anybody's going backcountry up in that zone, just be aware the avalanche risk is heightened. Now, I do want to grab a couple more graphics really quick that I had not before because, and I'll just shrink this down a little bit so we can sort of pick these up on the fly. But like I said, the active weather continues into Sunday and Monday. We aren't done with the rain and snow just yet. By the time we get in Tuesday and Wednesday, things will be quieting down quite considerably. But with this, we are going to see, this works like I want it to. So into Sunday, here comes that next wave of moisture. I think we're going to still be looking initially valley rain and mountain snow because snow levels will be on the increase through the day on Sunday. You notice these greens starting to show up more so into Sunday afternoon, even towards places like Butte and Bozeman, a little higher in elevation. Snow levels could be as high as about 6,000 feet into Monday. So even though we're going to be dealing with scattered showers out there, even at pass level, we could be talking about rain. So that unfortunately will make the avalanche concerns even higher in the backcountry, because you'll have weak layers of snow. Let me do this. You'll have weak layer snow followed by heavy wet snow, then followed up by a warming pattern and rain in some of those locations. So it's just not a great setup when it comes to the avalanche risk and those warming temperatures. But if you're looking forward to those warmer temperatures, as am I'll be the first to admit, you're going to like the forecast for at least the middle parts of next week. And let me pull this up here. Well, maybe there we go. So this is looking at the temperatures over the next 10 days. Missoula's average right around 50 degrees, and many areas right in that mid to upper 40 range right now. We're going to see those temperatures climbing above average Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Wednesday likely being the warmest day. We're talking temperatures anywhere from 10 to maybe 20 degrees above average. So Missoula, we're looking at 65 degrees on Wednesday. There is the chance of a few showers here and there for Tuesday and Wednesday, only around a 10% chance. That'll all be rain. But then we get into Thursday and Friday, another storm system is going to roll in, bringing those temperatures back down to near average. But again, that average is the 50-degree mark in Missoula. So we're starting to get to this period of time where valley rain and mountain snow is going to be the main story. It's going to take a little bit more of that cold air to bring those snow levels down to valley floor, so maybe not quite as much impact down in the valleys as compared to what we're going to be dealing with up at our higher elevations. Got to do something really quick, because I just realized I've been shooting this with my phone and it was almost completely dead. So let me get that charged up here really quick while we're finishing this out. Let me check really quick. I haven't looked at the comments section. If you have any questions, certainly feel free to ask those really quick. We're pretty much going to wrap this up from here. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask those really quick. Main stories, storm system is rolling in right now. We've seen those travel impacts already over Lookout Pass. Those are only going to worsen overnight tonight with heavy wet snow, gusty winds, 40 to maybe 60 miles per hour with that cold front, and those snow levels will be falling down to valley floors by the time we get into tomorrow morning. Overall, still looking at heavy snowfall, not as much in the way of impacts for our valleys, though we will be dealing with some at least strong snow bands, if not intense snow squalls, into tomorrow morning for west central and southwest Montana more specifically. If you get underneath one of those squalls, could see a quick half an inch to an inch of accumulation. If you don't get underneath one of those snow squalls, you may not see very much snowfall in the valleys at all at that point. Southwest Montana is the one exception. Temperatures will be a little bit cooler down there, and we could see better chances of 1 to maybe 3 inches of accumulation. On average, there's always the potential for some slightly higher totals here and there, but we will continue to see that potential for some snowfall into at least the afternoon in southwest Montana. But those winter weather advisories that are in effect for, let me actually just spin this back around. I'll give you one last look at those advisories and warnings, because I feel like that's a very key, important detail to share. There we go. So for all the areas here in blue, including the valleys of southwest Montana, south of Interstate 90, this does include places like Butte, Phillipsburg, up towards Seeley Lake, West Glacier, as well as Lost Trail Lolo Passes. We're going to see those winter weather advisories in effect through noon tomorrow, and then the winter storm warning for the lower Clark Fork region for areas above 4,000 feet, including Lookout Pass. We've got the winter storm warning, where we could be talking anywhere from maybe 8 to 14 inches of accumulation on top of what we saw just the other day. So those will all be continuing through noon tomorrow. Oops, there we go. But once we get beyond this storm system, we'll see a little break into Saturday afternoon and evening. Next one arrives on Sunday, though snow levels increase through the day. Most valleys, especially by the afternoon, even places like Butte, Seeley Lake, we're probably looking at rain during that particular event. It's only going to be from pass level and higher that we're dealing with snow, and even some of those passes may be primarily rain as well. And then we get into the middle parts of next week, and we're looking at much warmer temperatures. Like as I was saying, upper 50s to mid 60s are going to be common, and there is still even the potential we could see a few of our valley areas in west central Montana closer to the 70-degree mark. So some very nice weather, at least temperature-wise, is on the way. It's going to feel much more like spring, and maybe even towards like the middle parts of spring as compared to the first weekend of spring. I did see one comment pop up. Just want to check that. From Brenda, thank you for the weather updates. Sometimes I miss the live stream. I live in Plains, and your weather updates really help me prepare. That's the goal of these, and I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the comment. I'm always, always here to share those weather updates because that's what I love to do. And for storms like this, where they could be pretty impactful for people traveling, definitely want to get that information out to as many people as we can. So certainly feel free to share this live stream even after we wrap it up, and so we can get that information out to as many people as we can. So again, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, a fantastic weekend with whatever activities you might be doing. Just be prepared if you're going over the passes. There will likely be some fresh snow out there for tomorrow and maybe even into Sunday morning as well. If you have any photos or videos of this storm system, be it the snow, the wind, the grapple, if you saw my 3D weather that aired earlier on today, feel free to share those photos with us or the videos at nbcmontana.com/chime in. Let me say that again. nbcmontana.com/chime in, and then certainly tune into our live broadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. I'll have the latest on new forecast models that are coming out. Don't expect too much to change, but also looking at where those travel impacts are starting to worsen even further. We may be taking a look at places like Lolo and Lookout Passes throughout the evening, and certainly stay tuned to social media. I'll be making some updates throughout the night as conditions warrant, and we'll go from there. And then, of course, as we head into this weekend, tune into our live broadcasts on Saturday and Sunday. Forecaster Brianna Henderson will be in for the latest updates with the back half of tomorrow's storm system, but then also that look ahead into Sunday's storm system, and then eventually into that very nice warm-up that is on the way. And then, of course, next week I will be back likely for another Facebook Live on Monday. We'll see how things play out and how things are working out with the storm systems. But until the next one, I will see you then. And again, have a great evening. I'll see you next time. With NBC Montana, I'm meteorologist Mitchell Coombs.